on your darling station and program of choice this morning on ITV. You are welcome to the second segment of Discourse on Nationalism and You. We will take in a look at the topic, monetization of electoral process and the current of corruption. With me to discuss this in the House is Chief Yusuf Dabo Dantali. He is the National Secretary of IPAC and National Chairman APM. Mr. Dantali, Nationalism and You.
It's my responsibility and you to do.
And to my immediate right is Comrade Ayodele Adepiton. Nationalism and You.
It is my responsibility and your responsibility to build this nation.
Very well. So we proceed on how to build the nation. Let me start from my far right, Alhaji Dantali. We have seen or reported cases of outrageous monetization of our electoral processes. And there was this a report about a particular young man who wanted to get married in Kano State, and they asked him, what is your occupation? He said, I am a delegate. And the delegates are collecting some $15,000, some $10,000, according to the report reaching us. What are the implications of this monetization to our collective aspiration for democracy?
Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, listeners. I think we are looking at these things from the top. We are looking at the symptoms. Nobody is looking at the problems themselves. When you say people monetize, or the entire democratic process is monetized, well, how did we get there? Why is it monetized? Okay, what is the relationship between the economic status of the people who are voting and the process itself? Are we economically better? So, from the perspective of a student of sociology, I would say that these things are not the problems, but they are indicating that so many things are wrong with the socio-economic and political status of the people, and that is why it is like that. And secondly, if you look at, you have to look at it from the angle of the lucrativity of the political office occupied in Nigeria. What is the status of the people in political office? If you get there, who do you become when you get there? So if you link these two, you can see that there is no way you separate the behavior or the electoral behavior of the people to their economic status. I think this is what is responsible. Where you have a society that you have where people's basic earning cannot give them the necessities, the basic needs of life. For instance, let's look at the basic salary of an average civil servant. It is 30-something thousand naira. Okay, and what is the cost of bag of rice in Nigeria? And if you go to the filling station to fill your tank today, you fill with about 10,000 naira minimum. And the electricity is not good enough to sustain, and then even the cost of electricity is outrageous. And then look at the medical care, and then cost of housing, and so the basic needs is beyond the reach of the average man. So you don't expect that man not to buy the idea of, okay, take this and do this for me. Of course, I would do the same thing. So anybody will do the same thing. So I think it has to do with the economic status of the people. And then the other person who is in the political office. Yesterday, the man who is maybe driving Okada, the moment he becomes a political office holder in Nigeria, he becomes a mini lord. And then economically, his status is transformed. Banks will begin to go after him to come, will give you money, even without collateral, because they know there's no way he would. You understand?
They are encouraging him to go and do the Please,
like that.
Comrade Adebayo, your take on this.
Thank you so much. Good morning, Nigeria, and thank you for having me. I would like to rest on the position of Mr. Dabo, because the cost of living in the country is not favorable. Yesterday, I was discussing with some families and friends, and I was saying, how do you relate it together when the means of transportation, which is normal vehicle through road, is now on the high side? Like where you do pay 150, 200 naira before, now become 500. What that you're going to work and coming back is just 400, 500, but now it's going to 1,000, 1,500. So it's on the high side, and we cannot really fathom what is the cost. So the government really need to, once they get it right economically, I think every other thing will be settled. Because now, if for example, being a lawyer, before you can do things on the easy path, but now for you to even do things, is the money involved in it is not affordable. Just as you said, minimum wage is 30,000 naira or so, but you cannot even barely afford even bag of rice. Even talk of the others, is some person who call it equipment to buy to prepare the rice. But now the issue is on the high side now. So once the government gets it economically, every other thing will augment.
Now,
I want to listen to some.
let me quickly return to you so that you can say all of it together. Is there no way we can correct this? Because, if the system is so monetized, somebody was asking about 2 days ago, he said, if there are no giver, there will be no takers. Then we talk about set rules, regulations, things that are supposed to govern us, because democracy presupposes a rule of law, established rule of law that will be representative of the collective's interest. Are we doing trying frantically and ardently to get it right, talking in terms of legislation, talking in terms of set rules and enforcement of laws? Are we getting it right? Yes.
I want to say that this is not primarily only for the government or the people in government to do. It's about Nigeria.
Okay.
It's about all of us. It's about the leaders and those that are led. We have to agree within us that we want Nigeria that all of us will be proud of. Mm-hmm. You are guilty, I am guilty, all of us are guilty. The media is guilty, the legislators are guilty, the executive is guilty, the common man is guilty. As long as we don't ask questions, how do you get this thing? Are you getting me? It doesn't matter how you get it, but just get it, and everybody will queue behind you. We know people, I know people personally that yesterday, they are not people who have record that will come to say anything in the society, but today they are leaders. They are aspiring to lead. People that we know are thieves, people that we know are criminals, people that we know with facts. But you see them with convoy. Are you getting me? Because somehow they have been able to acquire this cash, through the window or through the back door.
Now, okay, Comrade Ayodele Adepiton. People fears, many Nigerians are afraid that if we do not tame this menace of monetization of our electoral system, it will throw up situations where lots of organized crime, drug barons, and those people are never in short supplies of money, hijacking our system. People who have no business in or concerns about good governance and development. We hijack the democracy and the democratic space. And what's your take on this?
That's true. Very correct, because and the only solution to it is for you and I to be resolute, to know what to do. If, for example, we know, just like taking, for example, what happened in PDP presidential convention, we know that the highest bidder took the day, and we're hearing 10,000, 15,000, 20,000 of US dollar that was being spent on each delegate. And just like what you said about the person that said he want to marry and talking about his work.
I am a delegate.
Is a delegate, which has become an occupation now.
These are
so how we can get it right is being the citizen determine in their heart that say, okay, this because everyone know what is right. That is true. Among the delegate, the aspirant that will come out, people know what is right. That this is a candidate for us to follow. This is not the candidate for us to follow. So, and it is until we are resolute to say, okay, yes, this is the person that we know that can do the work for us, and we are voting for them, with or without the money. You can take the money, nobody care, but it's you doing the right thing. But the idea of, because when we all started this democracy process, it is not all about the money. It's all about you being choosing the right candidate and being at the right position and doing the bidding of the people and providing the social amenity, making life convenient for everyone. So that is the only reason why we can get it right. If not, we might end up in
last week there was a particular primaries to the House of Reps in Kaduna, and a particular candidate was said to have bribed some delegates with 76 million, and thereafter he got only 2 votes, and he said, I will collect my money back. And somebody actually said to me that he actually collected the money back because there are people you don't eat their money in Nigeria today and go scot-free and that kind of a thing. What is supposed to be the response of the law enforcement agents, the EFCC, and the rest of it on all of this? Are we degenerating into a nation that is not being governed by set rules, regulation, and our constitutions? Please, sir.
This takes us back to my earlier assertion that until we go to lead, we go to govern, we go to serve, we don't go to make money, we don't go to change our individual status with the instrument of government. Until we get that, we can be better. Because today, as it stands, the person voting you think is voting you for you to go and take your own, give him his own.
So give him his own before you go.
So if you give me my own, and you go. Whatever you do is none of my business, but give me my own. So it is on this premise that the person going there would want to do anything because he knows that definitely whatever he invests, okay, in quote, in the system, he will get it back. Okay, there are projects, there are ways, there are even the remuneration. So as long as we do not go to serve the people, we go to change our status, things will remain the same thing, if not worse.
I will still hold on to you, Alhaji Dan Tali. Many Nigerians are saying that the monetization of the electoral process is what is fueling corruptions among government officials. For example, recently, we saw the Accountant General of the Federation arrested over 80 billion naira fraud. And the fraud have even expanded to over 200 billion. And the feeler we are getting is that many government officials are rigged into the 200 billion and that kind of a thing. And we appear not to be shaking. Even in Rivers State, they talked about Accountant General with 50 others, some 450 billion, 117 billion at the first allegation, then 450 billion. Those are the ones we know. Accountant Generals in states, Secretary to Government of states, all of this and the rest of it. What is the link and how do we check it?
This thing, now, you want to use me and you.
Waiting concern me.
Is there anybody in this country, let's look at the past 3-4 years, have you had anybody coming to complain or report to the law enforcement agents that so and so money was given to me as bribe? Have you had that? That this was given to me as bribe, I am reporting this bribe or gratification given to me. Have you seen anybody? So what it means is that we are all involved. It's not that, it's the only the person that got caught somehow. As long as we don't come out to say, this person gave me this to do this, it's strange. But we collect it. All the people you are talking about are all Nigerians. Like for instance, the delegates that were given money in Kaduna that you just mentioned. Did anybody return his own? But they were forced to bring it back. They all accepted. Okay? So as long as we do not tame the offices of these political offices as Nigerians, please, let's do it. The money, the salaries, the allowances, the extra code, and the rest that go to the office of the Senate, the senator that is associated with the office of the governor, some of this it should be slashed. People go to serve until we have that system. Sir, we can't get it right. If not, it will continue to go worse.
Who is supposed to lead the front of change that will bring this about?
Me and you.
What is the role of government?
Okay, you are answering?
Yes, yes. What is the role of government in taming this menace of monetization of the electoral system? Because somebody just assumed or believed and or know that I need more than 5 billion to prosecute governorship election or 10 billion to prosecute presidential election. And because of that, a rig is networking into offices, various parastatals, ministries, and the rest to evacuate money, including central bank. It's not even safe from their hand, and things of that nature. So, if we have this, who is supposed to tame it?
No other person.
You are a lawyer.
No other person than the legislators, because that's where it all started from.
Okay.
So we need laws, because their duty is to make laws.
Is it actually the absence of law or absence of enforcement?
Yes, it's pari passu, because we need law that is convenient for the general public. Because if, for example, APC, the nomination for an expression of interest is 100 million, PDP is close to 40 million or thereabout. If, for example, they say, okay, the money is 10,000 naira, for example, the value for that office has dropped. And that will point to the heart of the people that what this office is, there's nothing there financially. So that when I get there, it's for me to want to do the duty I need to accomplish as stated by the law. So we need to have that law in place, talking about this is the office, and that this is your expectation, that what is expected of you as a legislator or as a political or as a elected person or as a political appointee. So when we get it right from that aspect, people will have that must have created that notion in the heart of people that this office is not financial, is not about money.
Yes, we are running out of our time. Let me quickly return to Alhaji Dantali, a U.S. presidential candidate for nominations, and all of that expenses is just 5,000 naira and dollars in a country of over 23 trillion GDP. Nigeria, in United States, a presidential aspirant with his nomination and everything and expenses is $5,000. He's not expected to spend more than that. It could be lesser than that. But in Nigeria, that is a country with 23 trillion GDP, a country of 550 billion GDP. The nomination form and everything is 100 million and things of that nature. How do we synchronize this with our reality? Are we actually practicing our democracy to reflect the reality and necessity for development?
I don't think there is basis for comparison between the democracy in the United States and Africa.
Because we are copying them anyway.
Yes, we are copying them, but to what extent are we copying them? Okay. Do they get rich in government in America the way we get rich in government in Nigeria? These are the differences. Is the government, public officers held accountable for their actions while in office and after office? The answer is no. Remember during the election that brought in the current president of the United States and the former president his name?
Donald Trump.
At the point wanted to use the security agencies to truncate the process. And the chief of army staff came out clearly to say that my allegiance is not to
the president,
but to the constitution of the United States of America. So until we have a system where people are answerable to the system, where people are responsible for their actions. But as it stands today, because of the level of poverty, because of the level of illiteracy, that people do not even know their relationship with government. Okay, and then the level of crime and corruption and all these things have to do, I believe, with the level of
Thank you very much. We have been talking to Alhaji Yusuf Dabo Dantale, National Secretary IPAC and National Chairman APM. And we have been talking to Comrade Ayodele Adepiton, a socio-political analyst. Thank you for being our guest today, and we hope when we beckon on you again, you will make yourself available unto us. Yes, so we are drawing the curtain on nationalism and you this morning, but we must take this into consideration. Let us have a system where people are held accountable to that which they do. If we have that, monetization of election leading to current of evacuations of monies from various places in government, stealing and corruption will be a thing of past. That is how we draw the curtain, but do not change the channel because more are coming for you on ITV. I remain your host, Ebenezer Oyetakin. Till next week, Thursday, when we meet again, keep observing nationalism in your spirit.